Leviticus chapter 19. Adonai spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to all the congregation of Bnei Israel, and tell them, You shall be kedoshim, for I, Adonai, your God, am holy. Each one of you is to respect his mother and his father, and keep my Shabbatot. I am Adonai, your God. Do not turn to idols or make molten gods for yourselves. I am Adonai, your God. When you bring a sacrifice of fellowship offerings to Adonai, you are to offer it so that you may be accepted. It is to be eaten the same day you offer it and the next day. But if anything remains until the third day, it is to be burned with fire. If it is eaten at all on the third day, it is disgusting. It will not be accepted. Rather, anyone who eats it will bear his iniquity, since he has profaned what is holy to Adonai, and that soul will be cut off from his people. When you reap the harvest of your land, you are not to reap to the very corners of your field, nor are you to gather the gleanings of your harvest. You are not to pick the remnants of your vineyard, nor are you to gather the fallen grapes of your vineyard. Instead, you are to leave them for the poor and for the outsider. I am Adonai, your God. You are not to steal. You are not to lie. You are not to deceive one another. You are not to swear by my name falsely and so profane the name of your God. I am Adonai. You are not to oppress your neighbor, nor rob him. The wages of a hired servant are not to remain with you all night until the morning. You are not to curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but you shall fear your God. I am Adonai. You are to do no injustice in judgment. You are not to be partial toward the poor, nor show favoritism toward the great, but you are to judge your neighbor with fairness. You are not to go up and down as a talebearer among your people. You are not to endanger the life of your neighbor. I am Adonai. You are not to hate your brother in your heart. Instead, you are to firmly rebuke your neighbor and not bear sin because of him. You are not to take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the children of your people, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am Adonai. You must keep my statutes. You are not to crossbreed different kinds of animals. You are not to sow your field with two kinds of seed, nor are you to wear a garment woven with two kinds of material. If a man lies sexually with a woman who is a slave girl pledged to be married to another man, but not ransomed or given her freedom, you are both to be punished, but they are not to be put to death because she was not free. He is to bring his trespass offering to Adonai to the entrance of the tent of meeting, a ram for a guilt offering. The Kohen is to make atonement for him with the ram of the trespasses offering before Adonai for his sin that he committed, and the sin that he committed will be forgiven him. When you come into the land and have planted all kinds of trees for food, you are to consider their fruit as forbidden. 3 years it will be forbidden to you. It is not to be eaten. Then in the 4th year all its fruit will be holy, for giving praise to Adonai. In the fifth year you may eat its fruit, so it will yield its increase to you. I am Adonai, your God. You are not to eat any meat with the blood still in it, nor are you to use enchantment or practice sorcery. You are not to round off the hair on the side of your heads, nor are you to mar the edge of your beard. You are not to make any cuttings in your flesh or the dead, or make any tattoo marks upon yourself. I am Adonai. Do not defile your daughter to make her a prostitute, so that the land does not fall into prostitution and become full of wickedness. You are to keep my Shabbatot and reverence my sanctuary. I am Adonai. Do not turn to those who are mediums or to soothsayers. Do not seek them out to be defiled by them. I am Adonai, your God. You are to rise up in the presence of the gray-haired and honor the presence of the elderly. So you will fear your God. I am Adonai. If an outsider dwells with you in your land, you shall do him no wrong. The outsider dwell among you shall be to you as the native born among you. You shall love him as yourself, for you dwelled as outsiders in the land of Egypt. I am Adonai your God. You must not be dishonest in judgment, in measurements of length, weight, or quantity. You are to have honest balances, honest weights, honest bushel measure, and an honest gallon. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. You must observe all my statutes and all my ordinances. Do them. I am Adonai. Chapter 20. Adonai spoke to Moshe, saying, Moreover, you are to tell Bnei Israel, anyone from Bnei Israel or from the outsiders dwelling in Israel, who gives any of his children to Molech shall surely be put to death. The children of the land are to stone him with rocks. I also will set my face against such a person and will cut him off from among his people, because he has given his children to Molech, defiling my sanctuary and profaning my holy name. But if the people of the land all hide their faces from that person when he gives of his seed to Molech and do not put him to death, then I will set my face against that man and against his family and will cut him off, along with all who play the prostitute after him with Molech from among their people. The soul that turns to mediums or to soothsayers, prostituting himself with them, I will set my face against that soul and will cut him off from among his people. So consecrate yourself and be holy, for I am Adonai your God. You are to keep my statutes and do them. I am Adonai who sanctifies you. Any man who curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He has cursed his father and or mother, and his blood shall be on him. The man who commits adultery with another man's wife, who commits adultery with his friend's wife, both the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. If a man lies with his father's wife, and has uncovered his father's nakedness, both of them shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be on them. If a man lies with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have committed a perversion, and their blood shall be on them. If a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, and they shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be on them. If a man takes a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall surely be burnt with fire, both he and they, so that there may be no wickedness among you. If a man lies with an animal, he shall surely be put to death, and you are to kill the animal. If a woman approaches any animal and lies down with it, you are to kill the woman and the animal. They shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be on them. If a man takes his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and sees her nakedness, and she his, it is a shameful thing. They are to be cut off in the sight of the children of their people, for he has uncovered his sister's nakedness, and will bear his iniquity. If a man lies with a woman during her nidah, and exposes her wickedness, he has exposed her flow, and she has uncovered the flow of her blood. Both of them are to be cut off from among their people. You are not to uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister or your father's sister, for the one who does that has made his close relative naked and will bear his iniquity. If a man lies with his aunt, he has uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall surely bear their sin and die childless. If a man takes his brother's wife, it is an impurity. He has uncovered his brother's nakedness, and they will be childless. Now you are to keep all my statutes and all my ordinances and do them, so that the land where I am bringing you to dwell will not vomit you out. You are not to walk in the ways of the nation which I am casting out before you, for they did all these things, and therefore I abhorred them. But I have said to you, you will inherit their land, and I will give it to you to possess it, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am Adonai your God, who has set you apart from the peoples. Also, you are to make a distinction between the clean animals and the unclean, and between the unclean bird and the clean, and you are not to make your souls detestable by any animal or by a bird or by anything with which the ground teems, which I have set apart as unclean for you. You are to be holy to me, for I, Adonai, am holy and have set you apart from the peoples, so that you would be mine. A man or a woman who is a medium or is a soothsayer shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with rocks, and their blood shall be on them. Chapter 21. Then Adonai said to Moshe, Speak to the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, and say to them, A Kohen is not to allow himself to become unclean for the dead among his people, except for his relatives that are nearest to him, his mother, his father, his son, his daughter, his brother, or his virgin sister who is near to him, who has had no husband. For her he may allow himself to become unclean, for he is not to defile himself, a husband among his people, and so profane himself. Kohanim are not to shave their heads, nor shave off the corners of their beards, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. They are to be holy to their God, and not profane the name of their God, for they present the offerings of Adonai made by fire, the bread of their God. Therefore they are to be holy. They are not to marry women who are defiled as prostitutes or profane. Neither shall they marry women divorced from their husbands, for a Kohen is holy to his God. Therefore you are to sanctify him, because he offers the bread of your God. He shall be holy to you, for I, Adonai, who sanctifies you, am holy. The daughter of any Kohen, if she profanes herself by playing the prostitutes, profanes her father, she is to be burned with fire. He who is the Kohen Gadol among his brothers, upon whose head the anointing oil is poured and is consecrated to put on the garments, is not to let the hair of his head hang loose or tear his clothes, nor shall he go near any dead person defiling himself, even for his father or his mother. He is not to go out of the sanctuary or profane the sanctuary of his God, for the crown of the anointing oil of his God is upon him. I am Adonai. He shall take a wife in her virginity, a widow or one divorced, or one who has been defiled as a prostitute. He is not to marry. He is to take a virgin from his own people as a wife, so as not to corrupt his offering among his people, for I am Adonai who sanctifies them. Adonai spoke to Moshe, saying, Say to Aaron, none of your offspring throughout their generation who has a defect may approach to offer the food of his God. Any man who has a defect is not to draw near. No one blind or lame or disfigured or deformed, or a man who has a crippled foot or crippled hand, or a hunchback or dwarf, or who has an eye defect or a rash or scabs, or who has damaged testicles. None of the offerings of Aaron the Kohen who has a defect shall come near to present the offering of Adonai made by fire. Since he has a defect, he is not to come near to offer the food of his God. He may eat the food of his God, both from the most holy and the holy, but he is not to approach the curtain or come near the altar because of the defect on him, so that he may not desecrate my sanctuaries, for I am Adonai who sanctifies them. So Moshe spoke to Aaron and to his sons and to all Bnei Israel. Chapter 22. Adonai spoke to Moshe, saying, Tell Aaron and his sons to separate themselves from the holy things of Bnei Israel, which they consecrate to me, so that they would not profane my holy name. I am Adonai. Tell them, if anyone of all your offspring throughout your generations approaches the holy things which Bnei Israel consecrate to Adonai while in a state of uncleanness, that soul will be cut off from before me. I am Adonai. None of the offspring of Aaron who has tza'arat or has a discharge shall eat of the holy things until he is clean. Whoever touches anything that is unclean by the dead of a man whose seed discharges from him, or who touches any creeping thing that may take that may make him unclean, or a person who is unclean. Whatever is uncleanness, the person who touches any such thing will be unclean until the evening, and is not to eat of the holy things, unless he has bathed his body in water. When the sun sets, he will become clean, and afterwards he may eat of the holy things, because it is his food. A carcass or what is torn by beast he is not to eat, becoming unclean by it. I am Adonai. Therefore, Kohanim shall keep my charge, so that they do not become guilty of sin and die, should they profane it. I am Adonai who sanctifies them. No layman is to eat from the holy offering. A foreigner living with a Kohanim or a hired servant is not to eat from the holy offering. But if a Kohen buys a slave purchased by his money, that one may eat from it. Also, those born in his house may eat his food. If a Kohen's daughter is married to a layman, she is not to eat from the gifts of the holy offerings. But if a Kohen's daughter is a widow or divorced, and has no child, and has returned to his father's house as in her youth, she may eat from her father's food, but no layman may eat any of it. If anyone eats something holy unwittingly, then he is to add a fifth to it and give the holy offering to the Kohen. They are not to profane the holy offerings of Bnei Israel, which they lift up to Adonai, so causing them to bear the iniquity that brings guilt when they eat the holy offerings. For I am Adonai who sanctifies them. Adonai spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, and to all Bnei Israel, and say to them, Whoever is from the house of Israel, or one of the outsiders in Israel who brings his offering, whether it be any of their vows or any of their freewill offerings that they present to Adonai for a burnt offering, for you to be accepted, you are to offer a male without blemish, from the bulls, the sheep, or the goats. But whatever has a blemish you are not to present, for it will not be acceptable on your behalf. Whoever brings a sacrifice of fellowship offerings to Adonai to fulfill a vow, or for a freewill offering, either from the herd or the flock, it must be unblemished to be accepted. There must be no defect on it. The blind, injured, maimed, having an abnormal growth, or festering, or a running sore, are not to be offered to Adonai, or given as an offering by fire on the altar to Adonai. For a freewill offering, you may present a bull or a lamb that has any deformity or lacking in its parts, but for a vow it will not be accepted. Whatever has its testicles bruised, crushed, broken, or cut, you are not to offer it to Adonai, nor are you to do so in your own land. Moreover, you are not to offer the food of your God from the hand of an outsider from any of these animals, for their corruption is within them. They have a defect. They will not be accepted on your behalf. Adonai spoke to Moshe, saying, When a bull or a sheep or a goat is born, then it is to remain 7 days with its mother, and from the 8th day onward it will be accepted as the gift of an offering made by fire to Adonai. If it is a cow or a ewe, you are not to slaughter it along with its young, both in 1 day. When you offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving to Adonai, you are to present it so that you may be accepted. It is to be eaten on the same day. You are to leave none of it until the morning. I am Adonai. So you are to keep my mitzvot and do them. I am Adonai. You must not profane my holy name, for I will be made holy among Bnei Israel. I am Adonai who makes you holy, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai.